Why do some of your most private thoughts, the ones you'd never dare to share with anyone, feel so dark, so forbidden, so completely at odds with the image you show the world? Have you ever wondered why you sometimes experience desires that seem to challenge morality, that conflict with everything you believe to be right? The answer, according to Carl Jung, lies deep within the recesses of your mind, in a realm you do not control, but which quietly controls you, the unconscious. From childhood, we are taught that certain thoughts are unacceptable. Desire, pleasure, power, fantasy, these are all judged, shaped, and ultimately repressed by the world around us. And what happens to what is repressed? It doesn't vanish. It sinks into the darkness of the psyche, hiding behind the mask you wear every day, operating silently yet influencing your choices, your relationships, even your mental health. Jung called this hidden realm the shadow, and within it, sexual impulses hold a power that few are brave enough to confront. Here's the dangerous truth. The more you deny it, the stronger it becomes. The more you pretend those desires don't exist, the more they dominate your emotions, your dreams, and even your behavior. You've felt it before, haven't you? That forbidden thought that appears uninvited, that fantasy that contradicts your moral code, that impulse you're afraid to admit even to yourself. And then comes the question, what's wrong with me? Jung's answer is unsettling, but also liberating. Nothing is wrong with you. Those dark desires are not a sign of corruption. They are part of what makes you human. But because we live in a culture obsessed with purity and perfection, we're taught to bury them. Yet what we bury does not die. It festers. It emerges in disguise, in compulsions, in addictions, in obsessions. It leaks into our relationships, sabotages our peace, and sometimes explodes in destructive ways. What Jung wanted us to understand is that our unconscious, especially our sexual unconscious, is not the enemy. It is a reservoir of raw life energy, creativity, and vitality. But when we repress it, we distort it. When we deny it, it begins to control us from the shadows. Integration, not denial, is the key. To look your shadow in the eye, to own the parts of yourself you've been taught to fear, that is the path to wholeness. So stay with me, because what you're about to discover may shock you, but it will also free you. We are going to explore why your desires seem so dark, what they reveal about your true nature, and how embracing them, not repressing them, can lead you to a deeper, more authentic life. To understand why your desires can feel so dark, we have to go back to the earliest stages of life. From the moment we begin to interact with the world, we receive messages, subtle and overt, about what is acceptable and what is shameful. We are praised for obedience, punished for impulses, and slowly conditioned to believe that certain feelings are wrong, good, while others are bad. Desire, especially sexual desire, often falls into the latter category. Society tells us, control it, hide it, sanitize it. But here's the truth. These instincts don't vanish simply because we label them unacceptable. They retreat into the depths of the psyche, into the realm Carl Jung called the unconscious. This hidden world is not silent. It holds everything you have pushed away, every craving, every fantasy, every thought you deemed unworthy. And at the heart of this unconscious lies the shadow, the part of you that contains what your conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. When it comes to sexuality, the repression runs deep. Many cultures treat sexuality as dangerous, something that must be controlled at all costs. Families, religions, and social norms reinforce this message. Purity is virtue, indulgence is sin. So what do? We bury the unacceptable impulses. We push them down, hoping they'll disappear. But here's the paradox. The more you repress, the more power those desires gain. Why? Because repression doesn't erase energy, it only displaces it.
The instinctual forces that drive sexuality are among the most potent energies in human nature. When blocked, they do not vanish, they transform. They twist into compulsions, emerge in distorted behaviors, or seep into the mind as guilt and shame. You might notice it in the way certain thoughts intrude when you least expect them, or in the intensity of forbidden fantasies that seem to come out of nowhere.
Jung believed this happens because the psyche strives for wholeness. Everything you reject does not disappear. It waits in the dark, longing to be integrated. When you deny your desires, you fracture your soul into two opposing forces: the image you show the world, your persona, and the impulses you hide, your shadow. The wider the gap between these two, the more inner conflict you experience. And here's the uncomfortable truth: the shadow isn't inherently evil. It's simply the part of you that hasn't been brought into the light of consciousness. It carries not only your suppressed sexuality, but also your creativity, vitality, and passion. The same force that society told you to fear could be the very source of your deepest aliveness. But as long as you pretend it doesn't exist, it will remain a stranger. And strangers in the unconscious often become enemies. This is why Jung warned, what you deny controls you. If you bury your desires, they will find ways to surface, through dreams, slips of the tongue, compulsive behavior, even physical symptoms. They will haunt you until you acknowledge them. And the longer you avoid them, the darker they seem, because the mind coats them in layers of shame and guilt. So the question is not whether you have a shadow, you do. The question is whether you will face it, understand it, and reclaim its power. Because the cost of ignoring it is far greater than the discomfort of confronting it. When you bury desires, they don't just disappear, they start working in the shadows. Jung warned that the unconscious is not passive. It is active, dynamic, and deeply influential. And when the shadow remains unacknowledged, it becomes a hidden puppeteer, pulling the strings of your behavior without you even realizing it. Think about the times you've done something impulsive and later thought, "Why did I do that? That's not like me." Or when an intrusive thought blindsides you in the middle of an ordinary day, leaving you ashamed or unsettled. These moments are not random. They are the unconscious breaking through the surface, demanding to be seen. Sexual energy, in particular, is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. When repressed, it seeks alternative outlets, often in distorted or destructive forms. A person who suppresses their natural desires might become obsessive in other areas: workaholism, addiction, compulsive behaviors. Others may project their disowned desires onto others, harshly judging or condemning what they secretly long for themselves. This is why moral rigidity often hides inner chaos. The louder someone screams against sin, the more likely they are at war with their own impulses. But the most insidious way the shadow controls you is through relationships. Have you ever felt inexplicably drawn to someone, almost magnetically, even though they're not your type or even toxic? That pull often comes from your unconscious, an attempt to integrate what you've disowned onto others, denied in yourself by finding it in another. Jung called this projection. The qualities you refuse to own, sexuality, aggression, passion, are projected onto others, and you fall under their spell because they carry a piece of you that you've disowned. This dynamic can be exhilarating but also dangerous. It explains why so many people end up in destructive relationships, unable to break free even when logic tells them to run. The unconscious does not operate by reason, it operates by necessity. It wants wholeness, and until you consciously reclaim your shadow, it will keep seeking completion through others, often in painful ways. Repressed sexual energy can also manifest in dreams, fantasies, and art. It seeks expression in symbolic form when direct expression feels impossible. Jung encouraged people to pay attention to these symbols because they reveal what the conscious mind refuses to face.
Ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It only deepens the split within you. And the greater the split, the more suffering you experience. Anxiety, depression, even physical symptoms can arise from this inner division. Here's the ultimate paradox. The parts of yourself you fear the most are often the ones that hold the greatest potential for transformation. Within your dark desires lies not just raw instinct, but also vitality, creativity, and passion, the very qualities that make life rich and meaningful. But to access that, you must stop running. You must turn toward the shadow, not away from it. Because the truth is this: what you do not own will own you. And until you bring the unconscious into consciousness, it will continue to shape your life, your choices, and your relationships without your permission. If repressing your desires gives them power, then the only path to freedom is not suppression, but integration. Carl Jung emphasized that wholeness comes when you bring the shadow into the light, not by destroying it, but by understanding it. This does not mean indulging every impulse blindly. It means owning these hidden parts of yourself, seeing them for what they are, and reclaiming the energy they hold. The first step is radical honesty. You must be willing to admit, yes, these desires exist in me. This is harder than it sounds because it shatters the image you've spent years curating, the persona you present to the world. But the mask must fall if you want to be whole. The shadow is not the enemy, your fear of it is. The more you deny these impulses, the more shame you feel. The more shame you feel, the deeper the split becomes. When you acknowledge your shadow, you begin to dissolve that split. You stop treating these parts of yourself as monsters and start seeing them as messengers. Every desire, even the darkest, points to something deeper, a need for connection, for vitality, for freedom. The shadow hides not only instincts, but also creativity, passion, and the raw energy that fuels authentic living. When integrated, this energy transforms from something destructive into something life-giving. How do you integrate? Start by observing without judgment. When a forbidden thought arises, don't run from it. Sit with it. Ask, what is this really about? What is it trying to tell me? Often, you'll find that beneath the fantasy is a longing for intimacy, for expression, for feeling alive. Naming it, understanding it, removes its power to control you in secret. Creative expression is another powerful tool. Jung used methods like active imagination, engaging with your inner images through writing, drawing, or dialogue. By giving the unconscious a voice, you transform its raw, chaotic energy into something tangible and meaningful. Dreams, too, are gateways to integration. The figures that appear in your dreams often carry aspects of your shadow. Engaging with them can bring profound insight. Finally, embrace paradox. Integration is not about becoming pure light, it's about embracing your complexity. You are capable of both tenderness and aggression, purity and desire, order and chaos. Wholeness does not mean perfection, it means balance. The more you accept your contradictions, the less power they have over you. When you integrate your shadow, you free yourself from shame, compulsions, and the tyranny of repression. You reclaim the energy that was locked away and channel it into creativity, passion, and authentic living. You stop living in fear of your own mind and begin to experience the richness of your life.
Full humanity. Jung said it best, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The darkness is not your enemy, it is your teacher. And the moment you face it, you begin the journey toward true freedom." If this message resonated with you, then you've already taken the first step, the courage to look into the darkness without turning away. That courage is rare, and it will change your life. The path Jung offers is not about erasing your shadow, it's about reclaiming your wholeness. Because everything you've been taught to fear in yourself holds a key to your greatest strength. If you want to keep exploring these profound truths, subscribe to this channel right now.
Hit the like button to show your support, because every like helps spread this message to others who need it. And please share your thoughts in the comments. What part of this video challenged you the most? What truths have you discovered about your own shadow? Your story matters, and your voice can help others feel less alone. If you know someone who struggles with guilt, shame, or hidden desires, share this video with them. Sometimes a single shift in perspective can set someone free. Thank you for watching, for listening with an open mind, and for daring to face the truth that most people run from. Remember, your darkness is not your enemy. It is your doorway to power, creativity, and authenticity. When you stop repressing it and start integrating it, you become whole. Stay curious, stay courageous, and never forget, the parts of you that you fear the most are the same parts that hold the key to your deepest transformation. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.